Hey there, everyone. It's Dr. Mr. Creative Man Guy here again. I am continuing the series on creativity. The last episode, I don't know, I discussed how some of the misconceptions around what it means to be creative and given a brief overview of the steps that I use to kind of facilitate my own creativity. So I'll just give a brief refresher on that, which is the first step being you just kind of do it. You create something. You got to start somewhere. You don't really think too much about it at the time. You just kind of do it, and you kind of figure out something. You start with something you like, but you just kind of get something down, an idea flowing. So then the second step is where you actually take a step back from what you've written. I usually like to give it a couple days and then come back to it. But really, as long as you're objective about it, you can kind of do this whenever you can. I mean, you can do it on the spot if you're objective enough. And then the third step is taking that analysis that you did in the second step and applying it to the first step. So you take the analysis, well, this is what I liked and this is what I didn't about that, whatever I came up in the first step, and you say, okay, well, what do I do to address that? So this is the step that I'm going to take to fix or improve the stuff that I came up with in step one. So that said, this is going to be a video about mostly about step one. So we're just going to kind of go through a little more detail about step one. The next video will be step two and so on. Okay, so step one, what you're going to do, at least what I'm going to do, is basically find a starting point. Whether that is a sound that I like on the guitar, or if you're doing art, you could do, favorite type of pen or pencil, or your favorite color that you want to start with. Or if you're doing, drum and bass song, maybe you'll start with a drum patch or a drum loop or something like that. So really the basic starting point for me is to just find something that speaks to me off the bat. And I usually only spend, say, 5 to 10 minutes on this step, because I think that, your whole point of doing this is to create music. It's not to sit there and mess around with knobs and stuff. So I think limiting the amount of time that you spend on this step is a worthwhile thing to do. And just play around with stuff. If you don't like the tone of your guitar, move the mic position if you've got it running into a recording program, or tweak the knobs, put on some delay, put on some distortion, take off some distortion, whatever it is, whatever speaks to you, whatever you feel like, start as a starting point in that moment, I think is really probably the best way to start, just because that in and of itself is sort of a creative process, because you're kind of just channeling your feelings at that moment. You're just saying, well, this is what speaks to me now. I may choose like a distorted guitar part right now, and some other time I might think that I want just like a really nice ethereal kind of guitar thing that's like a ton of delay and reverb and that sort of thing. So you're gonna find, as you keep doing these steps in this process, that different days you'll do different things. You'll be in different moods and you'll want to do things a little bit differently. So take advantage of that. That's part of the creative process. So with that said, obviously I just kind of fiddled around with this a little bit a few seconds ago, and I've kind of dialed in a guitar sound that I sort of like. So I had kind of just, and this is really all you have to do, is just kind of play around. You know, mess around until you find something that kind of, you know, catches your ear a little bit. You don't have to be very fancy. You can do some really basic stuff. Just make sure that it's kind of coming from a place, the same place that your sound selection came from, you know, whatever is speaking to you at the moment. And to a large degree, I find that the sound that you choose does drive what you're actually playing, which is, I think, amazing, because, you know, you can sit down with that ethereal kind of almost pad wash guitar thing, and you'll come up with something that fits that sound that you would never play if you just had a straight distortion sound like this. So I think that's a really cool thing, because it you know, you let the sound drive you almost. So that's really cool. So I've kind of already played around with something. I have a little idea that I've come up with that I wanted to show as an example of kind of stepping through this process. So I've already, like I said, I've already done it, and this is the idea that I have. This is just the starting piece. It's very basic right now, so. So obviously, very simple, super easy, but I mean, and the chords aren't really doing anything special. It's very kind of easy to, you know, replicate. It's probably been done a billion times before, and that's okay. This step is where you're just coming up with that idea and getting it out there. So that's okay. I like it. It's, you know, I think it's a good starting point. It's a good place it's a good jumping off point for me. So I'm going to keep it. And in the next video, I will take the second step, and I will divorce myself from it for a little bit. I'll just let it kind of sit, come back to it, think about what I like about it and what I don't, and then we'll see where we're at. So if you like these videos so far, please subscribe and like them, and be my friend. So yeah, have a good day, night, whatever it is, and I will see you next time.